Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for attending our webinar tonight to learn more about our elementary education bachelor program. My name is Sarah Kels. I am the admissions representative for most of our undergraduate programs with K-State Online. I'm joined tonight by a few people from the Elementary Education Department. We have Dr. Lori Levine here with us today. She's the assistant professor for our curriculum instruction. Marcus Kidd, our assistant director of enrollment, and Michelle Martinez, one of the academic advisors with the department. We're also joined by Di Murphy. She's also with the education department and works a lot with credentialing. So we're going to be spending about 30 to 45 minutes with the presentation. Usually it's around 30 minutes, and then we'll leave the last 10 to 15 minutes for any questions that you might have. But right now, if everyone could locate the chat feature here on this Zoom meeting, then and let us know where you're from. We always like to know where, if you're from a different state, if you're from here in Kansas. Sometimes we have some international students. It's really great to know where you're from and joining us. We are going to be recording this and you should receive a copy of this recording probably in about 7 business days once that gets done by our marketing department. All right. Oh, wow. Lots of different places. Pennsylvania, Kansas City, Bennington, Dallas, Texas, Blue Rapids, Newton. Awesome. And in this chat feature, Samantha, in this chat feature, please feel free to ask any questions as we go through, and we'll be happy to answer those. If there's any of them that we need to ask our presenters, might save those towards the end. Awesome. Well, on that note, I'll pass it on to Lori.
Thank you very much. And welcome to everyone that joined us tonight, and welcome to those that will be viewing this in the future. We really are happy that you're here and want to share information with you tonight to kind of answer your questions and give you a great overview of what the Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education Online looks like at K-State. So I'm Dr. Lori Levine, and I am the coordinator for the Bachelor of Science online program. So that means I work with students from the time that they get into the professional program. So basically your last 2 years in the program, you'll work with me and other instructors, and I provide support and guidance. I answer questions. I'm your cheerleader in the College of Education. So the Bachelor of Science in Elementary Ed Online is really kind of an innovative pathway to teaching. So it can work for freshmen who want to complete all 4 years at K-State, but do it from a distance online, and those who have previously earned credits at a community college or other institution. So whether you're coming to us with 0 or up to 60 or more credits, we are welcoming you into the program. And the beauty of this, and it's innovative because you can do it from wherever you are, literally in the world, which is great. So what this provides students is sort of an accelerated real-world pathway to making a big impact in the classroom. You're sitting here tonight thinking about education for some reason, and usually that reason is that you have a heart. You have the heart of a teacher, and you're looking for a pathway to get licensure and be in your own classroom. And so that's what this program does. You can earn your online bachelor degree and be recommended for Kansas Initial Teacher Licensure. You get to complete all of your classes online, and sort of the heart of any teacher education program is field experience, practicum, and student teaching. And you can do all of those right where you are in your home community at a local accredited elementary school. So that's the beauty of this program, is that it gives you flexibility and sort of the freedom to stay where you are and make your life work. So how long will it take to complete a degree in elementary ed completely online? Well, that depends. That depends what you're coming to the table with. So you would need 120 hours, which could be completed in 4 years if you're coming to us with no previous credits. Generally, a student will complete about 15 credits a semester, and that usually takes about one summer and then 4 or 8 semesters to complete. So it'll take 4 years if you're coming to us with no credits. But if you're transferring from a community college or 2-year situation or just previous undergraduate credits from another institution, you can transfer up to 60 of those credits, which will accelerate your program and potentially make it 2 years. Michelle.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. I'm the lead advisor for the online program. And, a common question our students have, we want to know how classes transfer. So, and I'm sure many of you have that question. So whether they're community college classes or classes from a university, we want to accept as many classes as we can. So one of the things that we encourage you to do right away is apply to K-State. That way we can get your transcripts, make sure you send all your transcripts, and then we can do an official evaluation, and then you can receive an official evaluation through email. So, and that's really helpful for us to really take a close look at what you've taken. On the screen there, you will see a link for K-State admissions transfer equivalency site. So if you're in Kansas, community colleges or universities, you can go to this link and you can look at classes that can transfer from institutions in Kansas, but we also have out-of-state institution as well. So if you go there, you might want to copy and paste that link for later and kind of look around and see what classes you've taken. So it's really helpful. It's really easy to use. The other thing I would let you know is when you go to that site, in the upper left-hand corner, there's a link there. So if you've taken classes from a school and you would like to have that class evaluated to see if it transfers to K-State, because it's very possible you've taken classes that maybe won't show up as transfers, but they could possibly count towards the degree. You can upload syllabi from your institutions and have them evaluated. So that's really helpful. But we really encourage you to apply and send your transcripts.
Great. So I'm looking at this picture on the screen, and that is a teacher. His name is Austin, and he is one of my former students from back in probably I would say the early 2000s. I'm guessing he probably graduated around 2005 or 2006. And so it's just fun to kind of see pictures of former students there in the, I put that picture in and I didn't even realize that was Austin McNew. Great. So Marcus, did you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure thing. So as Dr. Levine mentioned, and as Michelle mentioned too, the program is pretty much broken up for you to be able to complete it in that 4-year time frame. So how does it work? What happens when you actually start taking classes? What is that sequence? And that's where working with Michelle is going to be really, really for you. She'll be your go-to person that's meant to kind of help navigate, hey, you should take these classes this semester, these classes that semester, and so forth. What's really nice is that a lot of our advisors encourage our students to make graduation plans. So a plan that's custom made for yourself that kind of maps out exactly what semester you'll take what classes, so that it's easier for you to see your progress as you go through, but also for us on our end when we work with students to see exactly where they're at. So typically, not just with our education program, but with many programs across the academy, you start your first 1 to 2 years, assuming that you're coming in with like 0 credit hours. You start your first 1 to 2 years by doing your general education classes. So that's going to be classes like college algebra, public speaking, expository writing 1 and 2, a lot of those. And so if you've already taken classes at a community college or some other institution, then those would most likely be ones that you would have done. That's what we see typically when we interact with prospective students. But within your first 1 and 2 years, you'll mainly be doing your gen ed classes. There will be some pre-professional classes related to the College of Education because we want you to be exposed to education early on, obviously. But once you get to around your junior years time, just as like what Dr. Levine mentioned, that's when you'll be in that professional program for you to start doing your blocks that we'll get into a little bit later.
Thanks. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about this because I do a lot with field experiences. So this is the fun part, is that you get to do a field experience, actually a couple of them, sort of an apprenticeship with an experienced teacher in an accredited school near where you live. So in your home community, students will use their cell phone or tablet or their own computer to record and then upload videos to a secure cloud that we use. And then your university supervisor will watch those videos. And it's not uncommon either for your university supervisor to sit in via Zoom or live feed and watch you teaching right there live. I've done that a few times this semester. I was watching a math lesson in Olathe, Kansas, just about a week ago, and it was second grade, and they had an hour and 15-minute long math lesson, and I sat in and I actually learned some things about division and fractions, which was great. So basically using some technology enables us to do real-time or recorded observations and evaluation to give you almost instant feedback, which is great. So we use some experienced teachers as university supervisors along with K-State faculty, and we get to see our teachers out in the field teaching. And like I said, we learn things too from you, which is really fun. So Di.
Yes, this is my area. I do all of the teacher licensing from K-State here. So can you get a license in other state? Of course you can. K-State is known for being extremely picky on what they put into their education program so that we can be able to get your license in every state. We are state accredited, we are regionally accredited, we're nationally accredited, we're accredited by everybody, which makes your life so much easier when you come through K-State to get your teaching license. Every state is going to want to know, did you come through a regular program or was it an alternative one? This is not an alternative program. It's exactly the same as the program that they do on campus. And so every state has their own rules on what it takes to be a teacher. And they have got reciprocal agreements with pretty much every state. All 50 states kind of work together, but every state has to have their own rules and they have their own little itty-picky things on what they think is the best thing that's going to make you a teacher. The majority of, actually, I think every state will give you, if you have a Kansas teaching license, they will give you a license for at least a year or two to make up any deficiencies that you happen to have. The deficiencies typically are, oh, we'd like you to take this test instead of this test, or we would like you to take a class on South Dakota history, or we would like you to take a class, something like that. But they typically give you a couple of years to do that. It's getting that more and more states are just saying, oh, you've come through this accredited college, you're in good shape, we aren't going to give you anything else. I was just working with a person from Texas that she is turning in all of hers. She's been teaching there for a year. They will look at it and they will say yes or no on whether she takes another test. I've got another one with New Jersey that I'm working on right now also. So we go to a lot of different places. Better shut up and get to the next slide or I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, you can give us all the expertise we need though, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And what tests are you going to need? Kansas State Department of Education requires 2 tests. They're through the Educational Testing Service, Praxis. There is the pedagogy test, which is the principles of learning and teaching. Typically, by the time you finish block 1, your first semester of your 3rd year, you've got all the content you need to pass that test. The second test that you need is going to be a content test. That content test is the elementary content knowledge for teachers. That's basically what you're learning in Block B and Block C in your last 2 years. Those are the 2 tests that Kansas requires. We have a very high pass rate for those tests. I think we have like 95% pass rate on both of them. So we do a good job of preparing you for them. And since they are national tests, it's through ETS. You can take them anywhere you are in the country. You don't have to come to Kansas to take them. Test fees are between $60 to $200, depending on what your test is. And basically, if you have questions on the testing, just contact myself or Janelle Harder. She is my assistant that works with me on that. You have to have a background check to get your Kansas teaching license. Pretty much every state is going to make sure that you do a background check. Sometimes kind of funny that we want to actually know that our teachers are upstanding, wonderful people, which of course you all are. So there is a fee for that, and there's also a fee for your teaching license application. Those come down the road at the end of the line here.
Okay, Michelle or Marcus?
Yeah, sure thing. So what's really cool is that there are a ton of different scholarships that are available. So there are a lot available through K-State. In reference to like what our advice to you is, we recommend that you fill just to be safe. It never hurts just to have that as a backup plan. If you originally have a plan for some sort of other funding for your schooling and whatnot, and if it falls through, at least you have your FAFSA as a backup. But for scholarships, we have scholarships that are specifically designed for global students, so students that are completing the program from a distance. So that's really nice, something to look forward to. But as you can see on the screen, there are a lot of other resources and entities where you can get funding from as it relates to having school paid for. So one is the Teach Grant, and that works actually in concert with your FAFSA. And so if you're going into a high need area of education, so elementary education actually is a high need area of education for the state of Kansas. If you're going into a high need area of education, that's how you can work to get those Teach Grants. You can get up to $4,000 per year. So you'll get half your fall semester, half your spring semester. And again, as long as you're in that high need area of education, that's how you can get those Teach Grant funds. If you were to go through the Board of Regents, they have a ton of different scholarships available. The primary one that we love to talk about is the Kansas Teacher Service Scholarship, but there's other scholarships as well, depending on what your demographics are. For those that graduate and become teachers, there's the public service loan forgiveness as an option. There's also the teacher loan forgiveness program as an option as well through our federal government. And so the way that I like to sum it up to students, one of the ways to have some of your loans forgiven, if you work at a Title I school, so a school with a higher percentage of lower socioeconomic status students, that's one way to utilize that incentive to have your loan. But there are a ton of other programs. There are some other programs that may freeze your student loan debt from accruing even more. So that could be helpful for you as well. And so there's so many different options that, we don't have them all listed on the screen, obviously, but anything that we can answer financial aid is a good resource that can help you out as well.
Yeah, I'd like to point out for everyone, once you apply to K-State, you will be assigned a financial aid advisor, and those people are wonderful. They understand all the ins and outs of what's needed for your financial aid, and they can answer a lot of questions. If I can help you with basic information with financial aid as well, but when it starts getting hard, I'll refer you to the experts. So just know that you have someone.
Great. Michelle?
Yeah. So what happens when you get admitted? You send your application in, you send your transcripts, you get an evaluation, and usually Janelle Harder, Di's assistant, will send that evaluation to you. And then I usually will follow up with you and schedule a meeting. I usually like to talk either through Zoom or by phone, and I'll go over your evaluation with you, and I will talk with you about how classes applied. And that's a good time to ask questions if you have specific things, you know, that maybe aren't on the evaluation and you wondered why such classes didn't show up. That's a good time to have that conversation. So if you do happen to have something that you transferred and want to know, you know, why it didn't apply, you know, we may want to get it evaluated. And that's that link I told you about earlier through the transfer equivalency. You can upload a syllabus and we can look at it a little closer. What happens with that is we have to send it to the appropriate department. So if you took a, you know, political science class or something and it hasn't been evaluated by K-State, having the syllabus, uploading it and getting it evaluated by that political science department is really helpful. So a little bit of work on your part, but it will pay off sometimes to, you know, make sure we get all your credits covered on the evaluation. Marcus mentioned just a little bit ago that one of the things, the College of Education, we really like to make sure our students stay on track. And that's especially true with the elementary ed online program. The last 4 years in the program are, you take them in sequence. So you would start, you know, your first semester in the fall of your junior year, most likely. And then you go into your next set of classes. And then your final year is your year-long teaching internship, your apprenticeship. So after we do the evaluation, we talk about your classes, and I learned a little bit more about kind of your goals and what you think you can do. I usually follow up that appointment, that email or that phone conversation with, I will send, I like to call it a suggested plan, because what I do is I take the requirements for the program, I map them out for you in sequence, and then I usually put little notations and stuff. And so you know exactly, you know, this particular semester is only offered in the fall, or this group of classes is only offered in the spring. And that kind of helps you visualize how the rest of your semesters at K-State will go. So that's really helpful for most students. They love that.
Good. Do you want to talk about this one too, Michelle?
What's that? I'm sorry?
You want to talk about admission to professional program too?
Oh, yes. I got sidetracked on that graduation plan. Just to let you know, so once you finish the requirements that Marcus mentioned earlier, like writing, public speaking, college algebra, statistics, we require C's or better in those classes. And once you get to a certain point, you are ready to apply for what we call the professional program. And that will be your last 2 years in the program. And you just fill out an online application. They go through and double check to make sure you have all the requirements. And you will notice on the screen, we require a 2.75 GPA. And we also would like a copy of your ACT or SAT scores. Okay. And so once we have those, and you send in your application, and then they just go through and double check to make sure you have everything. And then you're approved to be admitted to what we call the professional program.
Great. And that's where Block A begins.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of what the professional program looks like. It's a fall, spring sort of sequence. So when you get admitted to the professional program, you will take your first block of classes called Block A, and that will be in the fall semester. And so you take an ed tech class, you take an ed psych class, and then a core teaching skills and lab. Then in the spring semester, so this is happening right now for students in Block B. So this would be second semester of your first year in the professional program. You would take literacy K2 and science methods, along with an assessment and a teaching culturally and linguistically diverse learners course. All at the same time. You would have a practicum or 2 credits where you're out basically in a school classroom, teaching and observing about 1/2 day a week. And so then that gets you through your first year of the professional program, and then you enter into fall of your last year, and this will be your year-long student teaching apprenticeship year. And so in fall, you'll take what we call Block C, and then that will transition into the second half of Block C in spring. So fall, you're going to take a practicum, which is the first 4 weeks of the semester, and you'll take it says teaching literacy, but we've changed that. So you're actually doing teaching mathematics in the fall. And then in the spring, you're doing literacy and social studies, along with 6 more credits of that year-long student teaching. And so that's what makes this program kind of unique, is that you get to spread your coursework out over an entire sort of year while you're student teaching. And so I'll show you kind of what that looks like. If you're doing a year-long elementary student teaching apprenticeship, it gives you a ton of flexibility. So again, you're in your home community, and since it is year-long, you're in the classroom 5 half days per week. So you're in the student teaching classroom approximately 4+ hours per day, 5 days a week. So it's about 20 hours a week. That allows you a lot of flexibility, and many students will actually work in the same building where they are student teaching, either as a paraprofessional or a substitute teacher or a teacher's aide or in some other capacity. So you can have some income earning potential over that school year. And that's not typical of the traditional student teaching that takes place in just one 16-week semester full time, where there isn't an opportunity for employment, at least during the daylight hours. So it lets you be immersed in a classroom over a school year, because it runs from August to about the first week of May. So you're placed with a cooperating mentor teacher that can kind of show you how a school year works from beginning to end, which is fantastic. So again, all your coursework while you're student teaching is online, and it's broken up over 2 semesters so that sort of the classes are staggered and you don't have as heavy of a course load either the fall or spring semester as you might in a typical traditional student teaching placement. Let me, there we go. Yeah, Marcus.
Awesome. Thank you. So what's really great about K-State is that we actually have a full career center. And so in the Career Center, there's professionals that basically work with each and every college. And so a person that works with College of Education, her name is Pat Hudgens, in case you met her later on or anything. But she works to help facilitate a lot of the potential job placements that could be happening, the job fairs that happen. So as you can imagine, with COVID and everything, with everything being remote and online, she was really instrumental in our virtual career fairs up and going. That entire department was instrumental with getting a lot of K-State to into that fully online model. But that's what you have to look forward to. Aside from that, they have professionals that can help review your resume so that when you are ready to start applying for jobs, you can have someone critique it. What's really great too with working with Pat Hudgens is that, again, she primarily works with education students. And so with looking at resumes, like she knows what are some good things that you should include in that resume, or what are some things that maybe you should probably take out because it's not exactly relevant. So you have all of those resources to you, and it's at no additional charge. You have access to it with being a student at K-State. So.
And I love that everything is possible from wherever you are in the world. They even have a career closet, and you can ask somebody to walk you through that virtually, and they will send you things. Interview apparel and things. So it's really a neat full service career center for sure. So this slide I wanted to share with you just to give you the voice, let you hear what one of my current student teachers had to say about the program. So this was unsolicited. This is a student, her name's Mackenzie, and she just sent me this out of the blue. And I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what people need to hear. She graduates in May, and she is currently student teaching, and she's made the most of sort of her time at K-State. And I've worked with her the last, like I said, 4 semesters. This is my 4th semester working with her. And so here's what she had to say. I need to just move something around here. So she said, I don't know if you've received much feedback about it, but doing this year-long apprenticeship has been the best decision I could have made. I love that we can be with the kids every day and have the opportunity to work for the entire school year. I also have been switching each week between coming for the first part of the day and the last part of the day. This way I get to see what the entire day looks like. I've stayed full days a few times and have the opportunity to greet them and say goodbye. I've loved the way my teacher and I set this up because I get the opportunity to see and teach every subject. The K-State course load is much lighter since it is split up, which is very nice. This makes it easier to prioritize my time student teaching with the opportunity for extra free time. What a money lifesaver this program is too. I highly, highly, highly recommend doing the year-long program for anyone that is curious. They will not regret it. And I just love, I love that she said it just like I would want to tell somebody, but she said it for me. And so we'll look here and kind of tell you, Sarah, next steps, and then if there are any questions.
That's just so great. I love that quote too. Oh. Well, thank you so much to everybody from the elementary education department for doing this, and also to everybody showing up tonight and participating and sacrificing your evenings. I know we were talking a little bit ago about I'm ready for bed after this, so but it's great that I'm so glad that, you know, people are so interested in this program, and like that student said, you will not regret it. If you are ready to apply, you can go to our website, just go to online.kstate.edu and click how to apply. We do have different instructions and instructions for different, whether you're a transfer student, international, military. There's some helpful things for military, if you're active, a spouse, veterans. We do have another webinar coming next week. That's really helpful, especially if you are transferring from a community college or another university. It's our transfer student webinar. It's on April 1st. Same time as tonight. No, it is not an April Fool's joke. We will be here. And so it's just myself and a couple of my colleagues with K-State Online, and then also with Dina Core in our new student services office. And it really we help you with the steps of applying as a transfer student, and also kind of go through, they touched base on the career services, but there's lots of other services that even as an online student, we have available to you. A couple of dates that I did want to mention real quick is for the summer semester. If you are interested in applying for the summer semester, we would need your applications, all components of your applications by May 1st. And this includes official transcripts and applications. We would need all of that. For the fall semester, the deadline would be August 1st. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. And that's really my job, is to help you through the application process and make sure that we get everything taken care of. And I believe Michelle, or one of you amazing people mentioned the financial aid representative in our financial services office. We can get you in touch with one of them as well. As a thank you for tonight, we do want to let you know, again, we are recording this and we should have that to you here in about 7 business days. And another thank you is that we are offering application fee waivers for the summer and fall semesters. So if you are interested in applying for those 2 semesters and want to take advantage of that application fee waiver, please email me to online@ksu.edu and I can walk you through that process. Any questions at all from anyone, just type them in the chat. We had a couple come in, but we took care of those through chat. Any other ones that we can help with? Any last minute thoughts from the presenters?
Well, I just hope that we answered questions and that we inspired anyone that's thinking about it to apply and come join us. It's really a nice K-State family here, and I love celebrating with my students. I have, like I said, formed relationships with all of them because the cohorts aren't big. I have 28 that will be graduating in May that are student teaching right now, and so I hope you'll join us. Thank you for attending tonight.
All right, I don't see any questions. Thank you so much again to all our presenters, and thank you everyone for attending. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Sarah.
Great, thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for organizing, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for leading, Dr. Levine.
Thanks for helping.
Yes.
Thank you. You have all of the right information. I just know what happens once they get to block A. So you've got all the answers that everyone needs. So thanks again. See you.
Bye.
Bye.